Hello everyone, welcome back to IT and Research Accelerator. In the previous tutorial, we created our first Arduino LED circuit in Tinkercad. In today's video, we are going to improve the project by programming the LED to blink automatically using Arduino code. This is one of the most important beginner Arduino projects because it helps us to understand basic programming concepts and to add more meaning and value in our embedded systems. You realize that sometimes you want to program, you want to write instructions on how you want your embedded system to operate. By default, just like those programming languages, we have the hello world. It's just a basic startup example. That is why when you put the LED, immediately it will light. But sometimes you need to write a code for it, and that's what we are going to do today. Like we said, you will always need to first log in into your Tinkercad account. And for my case, like I earlier mentioned, I prefer to continue with my Gmail because automatically it will just pick my account and then it will log me in. So after I have logged in, remember we said when you reach here, you can be able to open your previous LED circuit projects or you can create a new one using the Arduino, the LED, and the resistor, like what we did in the previous video. So before we start programming, let us briefly review the circuit connections. I'm going to use the previous one so that we can easily connect and we see. Just come and you find your previous project. So we're going to work with the previous one. And before we start, we are going to briefly review the circuit connections and we'll be sure. So you see that our LED is connected, each digital pin is connected through the resistor to pin 13. You can see 13 here, digital pin 13. And the negative side of this LED is connected to the ground or to the GND. So the resistor helps to regulate electrical current and protects the LED from damage. Now, this time around, we want to program it. We come here on the code here and we click on it. When you click on it, you will realize here we are having blocks, we are having a drop down whereby we have the blocks plus text, but we want to switch to the text mode. When you switch to the text mode, you click continue. In this text mode, it allows us to write Arduino programming code directly. Now remember, we are having this default code, but we want to delete it and we write our own code. Remember, some scenarios we are going to have to command this embedded system to work as we want. We will not need this default one. So we're going to write some code slowly and then we'll be able to explain it and we understand it. So we're going to start with a setup. And then in this setup, there are things that we want to deal with. So first of all, we need to first state and configure a pin mode. This pin mode is in digital pin 13 and we want it to give us an output. I'm going to explain this code, no need to worry. You don't forget the termination. From there, we want to configure it to light continuously, so we'll need to introduce the looping, and that brings us to the void loop. Still in this loop, we'll go ahead to open the curly brackets and then we instruct it on the different things we want to do. For example, we're going to need the digitalWrite. I'm going to tell us what all these functions mean, and we're writing in digital pin 13, and then we can choose to delay for some, maybe 1 second. Still we need to terminate. Then we can choose to, the high is for on, We can choose to also have the load. So digital, right? Still for this same pin, 13. But this time around we want it to be off, and still we want it to be terminated. So we'll bring the delay for when it's off. Still we are going to put the 1 second, and then usually we first click start simulation. Usually when you click start simulation, it's going to show you whether your code has errors. Okay, so line number 9, we are having errors. Remember what we said, that we don't have to fear when we get errors. You just need to understand this error and you see what it means. So we say digital, right? So pin 13 high, and delay this W, the right is supposed to be capital. It was not declared in the scope, so let's first correct it again and we run. We make it capital, we capitalize. Okay, so the error is no more. But I want to explain this code line by line. So let us understand it step by step. You're seeing this first part where we are having we have this pin mode. Of course, here we are configuring the setup and we are dealing in C and C++. So in the setup, we are saying we have pin mode 13 and we expect it to give us an output. So that line number 4, this one here, this line of code tells the Arduino that pin 13 will be used as an output pin. Next, we have the digitalWrite, and still we are specifying that pin 13 digitalWrite, that pin 13 high. This line sends power through pin 13 and turns the LED on. Then we go ahead and we add on the delay 1000. This pauses the program for 1000 milliseconds. 1000 milliseconds is equal to 1 second. And after that, we have this digitalWrite pin 13 low. Now this one turns off the LED. And finally, still the delay of the 1000 milliseconds. Again, it pauses the program for another 1 second before repeating the process. Remember, these two commands are put in the loop. So this void loop is literally, we are saying we want this to happen continuously. So the loop function runs continuously. This means the Arduino keeps repeating these instructions that we have just explained, automatically causing the LED to blink repeatedly. So you see our simulation is already running. When we close the code, you can see here the LED is continuously blinking. As you can see, the LED now turns on and off automatically. It just waits for 1 second. This confirms that our Arduino code is working correctly. So if your LED does not blink correctly, check your wiring first. Secondly, check the resistor placement. Third, you can check on the pin connections. And if all that is well, then you can debug the code. Do the debugging, look for errors, you troubleshoot. And these are also important skills in embedded systems learning and real-life practicability, because you need to have the knowledge and the skills to find out where the error is. So, in the next tutorial, we shall create a traffic light simulation using multiple LEDs and Arduino programming in Tinkercad. If you found this tutorial helpful, feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more practical tutorials on embedded systems, programming, cybersecurity, ICT, and research guidance. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in our next video.